welcome back to my channel. I'm Gabby. If you don't know me, it's nice to meet you. And I hope that you will subscribe, like, I'll go over that at the end, honestly, because why would you subscribe and like when you haven't even heard what I have to say? Today, I want to talk about something that might get me in trouble. You've probably encountered this question from like someone you've dated or as like a password key question or maybe just in conversation. A lot of people get asked, who was your favorite teacher and why? Now, I have so many amazing teachers who have touched my life, professors who have made a world of difference in my life. Like literally, I wouldn't have gotten my first job without a professor. But today, I want to talk about my worst teacher. Now, obviously, I cannot say names. I'm not going to tell you my school. I do have to tell you that this is a lady who was the band director at my high school. Now, if for some reason some people from my high school have creeped on this video, don't at me, okay? You need to listen to the video because there's a lot about this story that you have no idea about. A lot of things went down behind the scenes that you did not hear about. So, without further ado, let's get into the story time. Now, I have to give a little bit of background. A lot of the drama doesn't start till the end of my sophomore year, so I'm going to talk about the background of it all. So, in middle school, I actually played the flute, and when I was transitioning from middle school to high school, the band director had contacted me and asked me if I would consider playing the saxophone, because we didn't have enough saxophones in the band. And basically, if you don't know, the saxophone and the flute, the finger placements are the same, but obviously with a saxophone you have a reed, and with a flute you just use a stream of air. So me being the giving, lovely person that I am, that sounded really conceited. I decided that even though it was going to be really hard for me, I was going to go ahead and agree to playing the saxophone because the band needed it. Literally, I was trash for my first year. I was probably trash every year that I played the saxophone, but for my first year, I could not play sharps or flats. I could only play natural notes, and our show, my freshman year, was a jazz show, so your girl struggled. But one thing that I really liked about the band was the idea of being the drum major one day. If you don't know what a drum major is, it's the student director of the band who guides the band through the music on the field. At the end of my freshman year, I decided that I would go ahead and try out for a drum major. Now, I was going up against the person who was already drum major that year, and he was going into his senior year, so I was pretty sure that going up against him was not going to work out for me, but I still wanted to do it for the experience, and because I wanted everyone to know that I was really interested in being the drum major one day. So now I have to break down how we voted for drum major my freshman year, going into my sophomore year. The band director got one vote. The majority vote from the whole band was a vote. And then the seniors, for whatever god-awful reason, got a vote, even though they weren't going to have to be there. The senior part is very important because after the voting process happened, I had a couple of seniors come up to me. They said, "You did a really good job, but this guy did a really good job too. It's going to be his senior year. We don't want to take that away from him. That's why we gave him the vote that we gave him. But you should try out after he graduates, which will be the next year, because you have a really good shot of being drum major. You're very talented." And so I was like, wow, because I wasn't expecting to hear any feedback from anyone. And I heard good feedback from the seniors who had been there for 4 years and knew what they were talking about. I think my sophomore year, I actually ended up serving as both the woodwind captain and the saxophone section leader. So, on to the drama. At the end of every year, we did tryouts for leadership for the next year. And then at the very end of the year, maybe a couple of weeks before school was out, we had a band banquet. And at this band banquet, we got awards throughout the year for both marching band and concert band, but then we also got to hear who got what leadership position. Now, I had tried out against a couple of people for drum major, but I need to tell you why I felt so confident going into this thing that I was going to get drum major. Obviously, aside from the senior comment, I was going up against people who were just like not qualified to be a good drum major for different reasons. One of the people that I went up against, no one liked her. Like, she was the meanest person I think I've ever encountered in my life. She made fun of people, she made people cry, just like not good leadership quality, right? The second person that I went up against of note in this story, he had never held a leadership position. He had been in the band for 2 years, never held a leadership position, never even tried for a leadership position. Just decided one day that he wanted to be drum major, right? And then I tried out. And then I think there were a couple of other people. They're not really like relevant to this story. One of the people I was friends with tried out almost every year with me too. And the band director just hated him. Like, literally, she tried to stick him with issues on a trombone that he borrowed. And, like, he almost didn't get to graduate and walk across the stage because she was trying to tell him he owed money on this thing. I'm like, you shady. But it was like, it was me and him, and then there was like, I think a really underclassman, and so I wasn't really worried about the underclassman, and I knew that she probably had just as much hate for me as she had for him. You know who you are. Hey, I want to tell you something that I thought was a dead giveaway. For some reason, I held out hope that I would still be given the leadership position, but during this year, sophomore year, the director decided she would take the vote away from the students and just do a panel of judges, including her, and I think it was like 2 or 3 other directors from surrounding bands. Why you would do this and let your competition pick your drum major, I don't know. But they did a good job because we didn't win anything that year. So during this process, they were asking us questions, like leadership style questions. Some of the questions I remember were, what would you do if a student had a conflict with a chaperone? Maybe what would you do if someone forgot their music? How would you handle that situation? I kid you not, I have to tell you, the girl who I told you no one liked, she ended up being one of the drum majors. And this was her question. What color do you think your brain is, and why? No one else got that question. And I knew right then and there that they weren't taking this process seriously. So still, I'm pretty confident because I had a couple of friends who, they were very confident in me that I would probably get drum major. I had friends as parents who were confident in me that I would be drum major. And so I was still like feeling pretty good. Keep in mind, I was keeping my family like updated on this whole thing. Like, I told them about the bogus question. I told them about like the fact that they're always kissing butt with this lady. And no, that's not literal. I'm not trying to say that anybody was touched inappropriately, okay? Fast forward to the band banquet for this year. And at this band banquet, they announced the leadership for the next year. And I was named woodwind captain. And the 2 people that I mentioned, the really mean girl and the guy who never had leadership experience in the band, were both named co-directors of the band. Obviously, I was really upset about this. I had people who were gassing me up. I had my family gassing me up. I felt really confident about my tryout. I'm pretty sure the underclassmen that tried out told me that I was the best one there. Just different things were making me feel pretty confident that I would get it. And I didn't get it. So at the end of this band banquet, they always had a lock-in. They always had the lock-in, but I never stayed at the lock-in. I just wasn't that type of person. I didn't really like do sleepovers. It was not uncharacteristic of me to not stay at the lock-in. And so I basically told all of my friends goodbye. I was like, I gotta go. The family's trying to leave, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that was a front. So I go up to my mom after that, and I whisper to my mom, no one else is around. I say, I'm going to go to the car before I cry. I know you got to stay here and gather everybody up, and I know you have some friends here that you want to say something to. So I'm just going to go. Like, I'm going to go sit in the car. I'm about to cry. And so I literally hold it together until I get out into the car. I open the door, get in the car, I shut the door. I like hide my face like this. No one can see my face or even see me because I was sitting in the back behind the chair, and I was just like this. And I'm crying. I'm upset. Like, I worked really hard for this, and I had a lot of people who believed in me and a lot of people who told me that it was no contest. And I find out that I don't get it, and I'm upset about it. The next part is important because my mom is a lovely woman, and I 100% understand why she did this. But she basically went and got the director, because I told her I was about to go cry. She got the director and had the director come out to the car. There was a sliding door, and my mom was standing here. She was standing here. They were taking up the whole doorway together. And I was still sitting like this. I was like blocking myself out. No one could see me crying, right? My mom brings her out here and she says, what did you want me to come out here for? And my mom says, I want you to tell my daughter what she did wrong and why she didn't get drum major. Because keep in mind, my mom was up on the tee. Like, my mom knew what was going on with these interview questions that were bogus, with the fact that the people who were always up in her office like 24/7 were the people who got leadership positions over the people who actually deserved them. My mom knew what was going on. And so she wanted an explanation from this lady, especially because I was so upset about it. The director basically looks at me and says, "You did nothing wrong." And I'm sitting here, I'm crying, yes. But I ask her, what can I do better next year? What can make me stand out and make me more worthy? I want to know. I want to prepare. You did everything right. You didn't do anything wrong. This is just where we think you should be right now. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people tried out for multiple positions in case they didn't get the position that they wanted. So, like I said, I tried out for drum major and woodwind captain, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure the girl who I said no one really liked, I'm pretty sure she tried out for woodwind captain too. She would have been just as good at the job as I would have. So, after I ask her, like, what I could do better, and she's not really saying anything, I say, okay, I understand. Can we go home, Mom? The teacher just like walks away and goes back inside because she's staying at this lock-in. My family gets in the car and we drive home. That's it. So I come back to school, and in the next couple of weeks, we do what we call band superlatives. If you don't know what superlatives are, they're basically like most likely to succeed, most likely to be late for graduation, things like that. Guess who got nominated for most dramatic? Me. Okay? I was not a dramatic person. At this point in my life, I had enough drama for 27 lifetimes. Like, middle school was probably the worst time of my life. I was bullied way worse in middle school than I ever was bullied in my life. I swear. I did not make it a point to call anyone out or be dramatic about anything. I had a class with a friend who was not a good friend. I had just found out about the nomination, and I said, I cannot believe that they nominated me for most dramatic. Like, what in the heck did I do to deserve that? And she said, don't you think that your reaction right now is a little dramatic? And I said, yeah, I do. But that's because I have no idea why they would nominate me for most dramatic. I haven't done anything dramatic at all. And she was like, oh yeah? A dramatic person wouldn't cry about not getting drum major? It just sounds like you're whining. Oh, I see what happened. This band director, this teacher, went back into this lock-in and told people that I was crying because I didn't get drum major. She went and aired my dirty laundry that was done in the conversation was done in confidence. She goes and she tells all these teenagers who she knows will bully me about it later that I was crying over it. Does anyone else see an issue with this? So I say, how'd you know about that? No answer. This girl was one of the girls who would go up in this office and sit with her and chat with her all day. Point blank period. That's who that was. Flash forward again to the end of my junior year. And I decide I'm going to try out again. I'm not going to give up. Girl, you thought you got me down. Bet. So, my senior year, I end up getting drum major with two other people. And those two people are, the first was the person who was drum major the year before, who had never had leadership position until he was drum major. And then the second one was with one of my other friends who I could tell other stories about, maybe I will at the end, who got it as well. And he was one of those people who hung out with her in her office. And then I got it. This was a pity move. Pity move. I know she was getting crap from at least two parents, not including my mom, about the fact that our drum majors were trash because they didn't have a leadership bone in their body, and people were getting bullied, and people were just like, we weren't performing well because no one took leadership responsibility as the drum major. This is how I know that it was a pity move. We had 3 songs in our show for each year. We had 3 drum majors. I never got to direct a song on my own. And I never got to stand on the big podium. And I, who had just torn her meniscus, the little thing that keeps your knee from popping out of place, I tore that the year or two beforehand. And they had me running around directing backfield on some whack podium that was like this high off the ground, and then running from the back to the front to direct side field. I just want to throw this out here. No one contacted anyone above her about this. I told my mom, just let it go, it's fine. No administrator was ever contacted about the fact that I didn't get drum major and I thought it was rigged. Like, I didn't play that. I was like, I didn't get it. Okay, I didn't get it. That's fine. I was often pushed with a lot of the leadership aspects of the group. I didn't get to do the directing and the fun stuff, but I was in charge of making sure that we got capes for the drum majors. I was in charge of drama and handling drama for whatever reason. I guess because I was most dramatic the year before. Hey, who better to handle drama than a drama queen? To give you an example, there was a girl who was in the band, and I think she was either in the foster care system or like something was going on with her family life. And she had anger issues. And when something went wrong in band, like the band director said something to her or somebody said something rude to her, she would get up and she would storm out. And every time that happened, literally both of them would look at me and be like, you need to go handle that. Different things like that. I was in charge of the drama and handling the drama and making everybody, like prepared, blah, blah, blah. Wouldn't you know, my senior year and my freshman year, I'm not saying that this is all because of me, but I'm saying because of leadership structure, we went from not getting anything to sweeping the competition. My freshman year, obviously, we did too. There was really good senior leadership my freshman year. I'm going to be honest. So to flex a little bit, I'm going to say that my senior year, the band superlatives rolled around, and I was nominated most likely to continue in music, which I kind of did because I was a part of the marching band and the jazz band in college, all 4 years that I was in college, and I did some concert band, but concert band isn't really my thing. Tryouts for leadership came around for the end of my freshman year into my sophomore year, and I decided that I would try out for low brass section leader. I got that my sophomore year with my big in my sorority, Letitia, hey girl, and we were low brass co-captains. At the end of my sophomore year and into my junior year, I tried out for drum major. I was supposed to be a co-drum major, but that person actually left the band. I'm not really sure why, but we did lose our director going into that year. I had already been placed as drum major, so I served as drum major for that whole year, but I wasn't the pick necessarily for that director who came in. But the next year I had to retry out, and I went up against people who did this for their major, and I still got drum major. Not saying that I was more talented than anyone, but I also had the leadership aspect of it, which is very important when you talk about a drum major. Like, it's 99% leadership and 1% directing the band, honestly. I tell you all of this to tell you that obviously it wasn't because of talent level or the fact that I couldn't do the job. It was obviously because of favoritism, of a teacher not liking me for whatever reason. That was why I didn't get drum major in high school. It wasn't because I was talentless. It was because the teacher didn't like me or I didn't kiss enough butt, again figuratively, to get where everyone else got. And I'm okay with that. So I want to wrap this up by saying a couple things to my friends and to this teacher. People who were friends with me and in band with me in high school. Thank you. I want to thank you for teaching me exactly what a friend is not. I want to thank you for showing me that real friends don't do the things that you did to me. Real friends don't hang around you when you pay for something or when there's something in it for them. Real friends actually care about you. And I'm so thankful that I'm not friends with you, and I never tried to continue to be friends with you. I do want to shout out two people, Katie and April. Those two people were great friends to me that were in the band. I'm talking about in the band. I had great friends outside of the band. I had a lot of friends in the yearbook and the newspaper who were genuine friends who I could cut up with and laugh with, and hanging out with them was so much better than hanging out with my band friends. To this teacher, if you ever see this, I just want to say shame on you. Shame on you for using your position as a teacher, as somebody who's supposed to instill confidence and inspire young people, especially teenagers. Shame on you for using that to help bully a student who was trying to develop into a functioning human being. But some things have happened. They've started a family, and I hope that all of those things have really humbled you, and I hope that you would never want your child to go to school and hear that one of their teachers was talking about them in front of other students, who then took that information to psychologically and verbally bully your child. The last thing I want to say is to the people watching this video. I always hope that in my platforms I can reach people who I intend to reach. Everyone watching my video is a good thing, in my opinion, but I really want to tell other people who are like me, who are maybe plus size, who feel like they don't fit in, or whether it be your size or your race or your gender or anything that makes you different, your friends in high school are not going to be your friends for your entire life. I made my friends and met my husband at my college. If you find yourself around friends who use you and only care about you when you're offering them something, they're not your friends, and just do yourself a favor and just stop being friends with them. You don't need to spend your entire young adult life chasing after the approval of people who just don't matter. They're so irrelevant. Like, it's not even, you won't even think about them. Things like this make me a little bit emotional and a little bit vulnerable because, like I said, I do this. I take time to make content, even for 32 subscribers or whatever I have at this moment. I take time to make videos like these, and I take time to go and blog over on theopinionatedone.com because I want to reach that person who feels like they can't share their opinion. I want to reach that person who feels like they have to search for the approval of other people. I want to reach that person who feels silenced by society, who feels like their voice doesn't matter, and who's letting other people's opinions and other people's thoughts about them or speculations about them or their lifestyle or their stereotypes about them. I want to reach those people and tell them to just knock it off. Don't let people rule your life. In my opinion, you should live your life for God and for you. Live your life not trying to appease other people. There's only one thing you have a duty to do, in my opinion, and that is to live like Jesus. Even if you're not a Christian, you know what living like Jesus is like. At least be a good person in life. If Jesus isn't your jam, which Jesus is my jam, it all is a personal decision. I think you should become a Christian, personally. But if you don't want to become a Christian, that's fine. No one can really argue that Jesus wasn't a highly moral and upstanding person. And to me, there is at least some level of respect that everyone is owed. Everyone is a human. At the end of the day, we end up in the same place. At the end of our lives, we end up in the same place. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like, who you're with, how much money you have. At the end of the day, there's no point in treating people like trash. You can disagree with them. You don't have to agree with everything that your best friend says. You don't have to agree with everything that society deems correct. You don't have to agree, but you do have to treat people with respect. You shouldn't get to name call. You shouldn't get to make people feel less than human because you don't like how they are. If you're being bullied right now, make sure you're talking to the right people. Don't confide in people who don't have your trust. Don't tell your business to just everyone because it ends up burning you. And I learned that at a pretty young age, and I grew from it. It made it a little harder, but I am 1000% happier than where I was. And that's a good place to wrap this up. So, I know it got kind of deep at the end. I'm sorry if that's not your jam. But I appreciate you coming and watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like and hit subscribe. Tell your friends about my video, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks so much for watching another video from Worthy Allisons. If you liked this video, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to check out some of our other videos, and follow us on our social media sites. Thanks for watching. See you next time.